Hey there, everybody. So we need to have a serious conversation because we're going to be talking about a D-trans person that I just became friendly with. Seems like a very nice person. I'm going to assume, and this person can correct me in the comment section if I'm completely wrong, but I'm going to assume this was a female that was planning on transitioning to a male. Just judging by the profile picture, it looks like a lady. So I'm going to assume Miss Prisha is indeed a Miss Prisha and was trying to transition into a Mr. Prisha or whatever their name would have been. But they can, of course, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll happily write in the comment section that I was wrong because I make mistakes. I'm human. But we need to talk about this person because it's not necessarily her I want to talk about. It's one of her detractors that's really pissing me off. And once you see this, it'll piss you off too. Now, I'm not going to read every single comment. You guys can do that yourself. I will be lingering on them and giving the general gist of the comments enough as it is. But take a look at this. I will read this one. Miss Precious says, I feel I need to say something important, both to the TRAs and the GC/TERFs. I hope this will be understood. And she says 3 times adults can be groomed. Narcissistic abusers and people who know themselves to have evil intentions or episodes of egregious behavior take great care and effort to lull, charm, and earn the trust of their victims and the people around their victims. This is completely a necessary step in the creation of an abusive environment in which an abuser can take what they want from a victim. One of 2 things is being done. One, the abuser is working to convince others around them that serving their needs and accepting their abuse is actually the desire of the victim. Overt narcissist. 2, the abuser is working hard to create a victim narrative and to convince the victim and those around them that not allowing the abuse is the abuse. Covert narcissist. If an abuser wasn't compelling but was instead constantly dangerous, erratic, and cruel, would you allow yourself or your children to be near them? No. Adults can be groomed. Also, adults who are groomed aren't stupid. They're usually directly targeted because they're good or protective people. That is the main basis for this. Now, when I engaged the person we're about to talk about, I didn't know about Miss Prisha. I wasn't really paying attention. I was looking at the Protect Trans Kids hashtag on X. So I didn't know about this. I didn't really dig too deep into this. This is the first time I've read this post. I keep wanting to say tweet, but they're not tweets anymore, are they? But I kept wanting to read this post. So I fully agree with Miss Prisha. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm like 90% positive you are a Miss Prisha. I'm going to say that. But let's take a look at what this fool had to say. Because this is important. This is important. We go to this fool right here, Rebecca Moore. And Rebecca Moore says it scares them that someone with a mind as twisted as yours has a platform to dispense these fictions. Now, this person saying that Miss Prisha is demented is funny in a sick way, not in a haha way, but in a sick way, because this person is who I was having a fight with. Now, as you look here, you'll see that Rebecca over here, right here, proceeds to say, you of all people should know that you cannot quote trans someone. Gender dysphoria is innate. This person talks about gender dysphoria, but then when they were talking to me, and I'm going to show you this, give me 1 second. They very clearly told me there's no requirement in the trans euphoria rulebook. They use the word euphoria. And this was in regards to little kids transitioning. There's no requirement in the trans euphoria rulebook that says you have to be on hormones to be trans. The rules are very liberal that way. And then they proceed to say kids absolutely know if they can be trans, if they are trans. It's innate. They may not know the world, but they know the dissidents. So this person who is going after Miss Prisha, who again, 25-year-old detransitioner, says so right in their bio. Detrans. This person's going after this lovely individual because Prisha does not believe in transitioning children. And they're going hard after Miss Prisha. If you have to go very hard after somebody when it comes to children, I'm looking at you sideways for a little bit. For a long time, I'm looking at you sideways because this is something that I take seriously. If you want to be an adult and transition yourself, fine. That's completely your choice. That's fine. Okay. But the moment it has to do with kids, I have a big problem with that. And so do thousands upon thousands of people, hundreds of trans people, maybe even thousands, have the same opinion. Because people don't play when it comes to children. We just don't. We just don't. Telling Miss Prisha that she's chugged Kool-Aid and all this other stuff, if a child is persistently insistent that they identify as a different gender, and that they are in the wrong body, how do you plan to address it? Beat it out of them? It's refusing to support their identity that's evil. Now, before we get into my comment, because obviously you can see my name underneath this, before we get into my comment, I want to make this clear. A child cannot consent to a tattoo, and I've asked this person this question multiple times and they keep dodging it. If a child cannot consent to a tattoo, which is a permanent life altering change to their body, why in the world would they be able to consent to something like, body modification in the form of transitioning? We will not legally allow a kid to tattoo their body without a parental consent, but we'll allow them to be put on medication that will change their lives permanently, cut off body parts, and don't you dare tell me it's not happening. Look at Jazz Jennings. That is a perfect case of a botched child transition. It's a perfect example. And as you can see, I say right here, you do know that kids think they're dinosaurs, right? A lot of times, right? And this person goes on to say, oh, OMG, gender dysphoria diagnosis requires a persistent identity for at least 6 months. But cute, basically saying I'm being cute. Well, here's the thing, I'm not being cute. A kid can think they're a dinosaur one day, and then a pretty princess the next. It's very common. But let's get further into this. I will speed this up because I know I'm talking slow. But if I don't talk slow, I won't get the message out. I say, look at Jazz Jennings. Gender dysphoria is a thing. Trans children are not. And then they say, I understand you correctly, but you got a large logical gap to fill and a small spelling one. And then when I asked how my logic is bad, they said, you're saying gender dysphoria exists, but trans kids don't? Right here. And then I respond, well, yeah, dysphoric kids do exist, but they're not trans. To be trans, you have to have hormones. And then I bring up Blair White. You can read this entire post for yourself. It's very easy what I say. And then this person said something that pissed me off. It's pretty hard to find a D-trans person to ask, truth be told, and the 13 public ones aren't honest. And this is what I am going to read. You are calling the public D-trans people liars. Why? Where is your proof they are lying about what happened to them? Is wrong, because that is a very bold claim. Also, Blair and Buck Angel, have interviewed a lot of D-trans people. Where is your proof? Because, again, this is a bold claim. And they said, this creature said, every time they testify on behalf of anti-trans legislation to ban gender-affirming care, they are lying, spewing false information, misrepresenting the facts. I'm not talking about their personal stories. I'm talking about what they're affirming. That's bold enough for you? And then, this is where I say to this person, oh, so I get it, you sick weirdo. So when these people who have gone through hell and back and dealt with the botched surgeries and being lied to as kids that they are trans, when in reality they're not, because they're speaking out on stuff that you think should happen to children, such as sterilization. I'm using voice to text a lot of times, so it's a horrible spelling, but I'm not going to delete this. Sterilization. They are lying about it. You're literally taking away these people's experiences, all because they are speaking out against kids transitioning, when they themselves were children who transitioned. I stand by all of this. You give me very creeped out groomer vibes with these tweets. You cannot prove to me how these people are lying about their situation, which is what I specifically asked you. And you cannot prove to me how they're being deceptive, except for the whole because I say so nonsense. What is it with adults and wanting to sterilize children so freaking badly, or manipulate their brains into believing they're trans so freaking badly? I don't go after people's looks ever, but you even look like a person who should be staying about 8,000 feet away from a school, you creep. I would never trust a kid to be around you, especially since you said you have no requirements to be trans. You just need euphoria. Since when did transitioning go from having a massively bad mental condition, obviously you can tell I'm using voice to text because of the question mark, like gender dysphoria, to all you need, it said unit, I'm sorry, it's bugging me too, I need to double check these things before I send them, is euphoria, which children have euphoria about random things all the time. A child is not old enough to get a tattoo, so why in the world would they be able to make a life-changing decision about their sexuality? And I know you saw a brief glimpse of the picture, but this is what the person looks like. I'm sorry, but would you trust this person? Would you trust this person around any child at all? And again, I know not everybody can pass, but this person right here does not look like they're trans at all, like they're even making an attempt. This is a cross-dresser. This is not a person who's trans. I'm sorry, you can change your pronouns and change your name, but this is not a trans person. This is a creeper. And they would not even respond to it. But Prisha, and this is a complete abridged version of what's going on. Prisha said 100%. And then I told her that when people start being very creepy things to kids, I no longer care if I go after their looks. Because I don't. Prisha said that her friend pointed out that his profile picture is giving Midsummer cosplay vibes. So this is just a brief look into this creep. That I might actually do a little bit of a dive into their actual profile. Because this person is very, very much groomer. It really is giving me legitimate groomer vibes. I do not trust people who are this adamant about kids. I don't. I trust people that want to protect kids, keep kids safe, want kids to be happy and healthy. But people who are that interested in a child's private parts or a child's body in that way, in a way that is super intimate, such as transitioning, those are the people that I do not care for. Those are the people that I do not support. Those are the people that I do not trust, and I never will trust them. Ever. Ever. Like, their replies are gross and disgusting. Everything about them is gross and disgusting. I wish I could say I was shocked that this person exists, but I'm really not. I really, truly am not. But this is ironic. You should have seen what they did with okay, so this is like I can't even say anything. Go somewhere else with your perverted thoughts, creep. I don't even need context. You're calling someone else a creep when you're literally talking about children's transitioning surgeries. Guys, thank you for listening to this. I will be speeding this up because I know I'm talking slow. But this stuff pisses me the heck off, and I'm sure it pisses you off too. This wasn't even half of what was happening between us. But do me a favor. I will happily be making a secondary video on Miss Prisha because I like Miss Prisha. I think they're a pretty decent human being. But check her out. Even though I cannot pronounce her username whatsoever, check her out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. And regardless of your politics, can we please just protect kids? Protect kids from groomers and creeps like this man right here. My guess is this dude has onogynephilia. Because there's no way he's trans.